I have a face for the radio. I hate the way that I look and I hate the way that I sound. If you've said these things out loud, then you are in the right place, my friend. These are limiting beliefs that are holding you back. And in today's video, we are going to address them head on so that you can overcome this low self-confidence and self-esteem that you have. I'm Amanda Horvath, and on this channel, I help eliminate the obstacles to getting you sitting where I'm sitting right now, in front of the camera, sharing your message with the world. So if you're ready to start that video show you've been dreaming of, then be sure to subscribe and click the bell to be notified every time I release a new video. In today's video, we are bringing on Meagan Richardson. She is a personal makeup expert who teaches women how to enhance their natural features using makeup. Meagan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on here.
I'm so excited. I'm consistently raving about you behind the scenes and on Instagram stories. So it's so exciting to intro you to my YouTube audience. I want to dive straight in and get to the point, since this is YouTube. We are not on a podcast. And start by immediately talking about self-confidence and how to overcome these negative self-talk comments that we tell ourselves. So you have a reel that is on your Instagram where you showed yourself kind of like looking in the mirror and saying all of these negative comments. And then once you're made up, like looking in the mirror and having all of these positive affirmations. And I just loved that reel. Like, it stuck out to me ever since I saw it, because it really shows the power of makeup and how we can be holding ourselves back if we aren't embracing it. So I wanted to kick things off with the question of just addressing these limiting beliefs that we have and how normal they are. So what is your experience in working with women and the different limiting beliefs that we all have?
That video was inspired because I'm a makeup artist. I've been doing makeup for over 12 years, work with women every day. So I constantly hear the things that women say to themselves or even say to me. And I know that it's so common across the board that we all have these certain insecurities about ourselves. And so many women aren't using tools that they could be using to their advantage that are really actually pretty easy and simple to use to just help them get past those little insecurities that really aren't a big deal, but really hold women back so often.
Yeah. And specifically, if you're watching this video on this channel, like, this might be holding you back from actually getting in front of the camera and hitting record, right? Like those things that we said at the beginning of this with, like, I have a face for radio, I hate the way that I look, all of these things. And I think that it's like, especially with the law of attraction, right? Like, you and I think, are big believers into the law of attraction and how the words that we use are going to create our realities. So when we're constantly telling ourselves these negative aspects of ourselves and we're allowing ourselves to kind of live in this like lower state energetically, when we could be shifting over and embracing our beauty and living in that state just as easily, then, you know, your reality is going to reflect that. So I'm super stoked to kind of dive into this. So one of the things that really stood out to me when I started watching your content, and this is going to be, I've told you this in the past, but there's something about the way that you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, yes, I'm sexy and I'm going to own it. I love the way that I look, right? And there's something that happens with women that it's almost like we know there's a vanity aspect to makeup, or you're supposed to be humble. And even like I was thinking about it this morning, this concept of like the pretty woman. Like, when I say pretty woman, right, we think of like the movie Pretty Woman and Julia Roberts like being a prostitute in New York, right? It's like, that is not a positive context that we have around this concept of being a pretty woman. Oh, you're a pretty face, like you don't have anything to offer. And so I think it's like we so easily get like looped into that. And I would love to just ask you, like, how do we move beyond this concept of makeup being vain or fearing changing our appearance and really owning that. You have any tips for
Yeah.
that?
Well, I really think that like embracing your own beauty is the most important part with makeup. So again, and when I look at women, I see something beautiful about every single person. And so it's kind of more of like changing your mindset to see the beautiful things about yourself instead of focusing on the things you don't like. So that could be like, oh, I haven't tweezed my eyebrows in forever. And like I constantly hear that, which is a very simple, easy fix, right? But it just takes a little bit of time to do that. But I mean, that's like a very minimal example. But even just, if you know you have beautiful eyes or you get complimented on your eyes, enhancing them just a little bit, even in a natural way, just makes you feel like the attention goes to your eyes. No one is focusing on any of the things that you might be thinking of. And so really just embracing your own beauty, I feel like that's just so powerful. And really throughout the entire rest of your day, when you feel beautiful, like you're not looking in the mirror and thinking all of those negative thoughts that might be running through your head regularly. You're just like, oh, I look good. And like, let's keep going with the day without those insecurities getting in your way with whatever you're doing. Like, even like a Zoom call, I know a lot of women, especially like the last couple of years, they've been on Zoom a lot more. And then you're looking in the camera and seeing what you look like instead of focusing on what you should be focusing on this Zoom call. So that's another, yeah, it's another example of, if you just do a few things that make you feel good, it's crazy how many, like the ripple effect that it can cause throughout the rest of your day to just feel good and like show up as your most powerful self without those insecurities.
Yeah, it's such a small thing. So we're going to be diving more into the things that Meagan offers and different things, but it's like just to kind of tease it, and we'll dive into it a little bit later. So I took Meagan's course. She's a course creator just like I am, and learned how to do my makeup. And like every single day, I would turn to my now husband, which is so weird to say, and be like, I'm so grateful for Meagan, just because it lasts with you the entire day. Like all of those little comments of popping on Zoom, like you said, and being like, oh, I really don't like the way that I look, or catching yourself in the mirror and feeling like, God, can you like put a little bit of effort in? All of those little moments are gone. And when you don't have that resistance throughout the day, it really does have that ripple effect that Meagan talks about. And so it's such an interesting, subtle shift that I feel like you really hone in on, that I so appreciate, and which is why I wanted to bring you on and kind of start this conversation and shift the conversation from being the taboo of makeup and, oh, women take forever to get ready, to, you know what, this is a tool in your toolbox that can empower you on a daily basis. And it is worth spending time on to really learn how to do it properly.
Well, and I also think that a lot of the times when women are thinking about makeup now, we're so used to seeing like YouTube influencers or Instagram where it's really heavy makeup, it's not natural looking. And then women get scared thinking that's the only version that you can do. When in reality, like really, you only do what your comfort level is, which can mean something different to every single person. So, I think understanding like where you are in that spectrum of like from no makeup to all the way full glam, like that's also super important. And then understanding how to get to that place that you want to be in, that also takes it's important.
Yes, I so agree with that. Like one of the things, and I want to plug this too. We're gonna talk about it here in a second. Actually, I'll hold off on that. We're gonna let you keep watching this video, and if you're finding value, be sure to click like, drop your comments below, stick around till the end for all the goodies. But one of the things that I loved about working with you is you had mentioned like people are going to look at you and they're going to know that there's something that looks different, but they won't be able to place what it is. And that was one of my biggest fears in like shifting my makeup routine, was like someone being like, oh, wow, you look so glammed up. It's because for some reason there was this story around like being glammed up and being high maintenance, right? And so what I love about like like what you said is like it people won't be able to place it. And that is so amazing. And then to add just like a little bit onto that, since we are on this channel and talking about video and how to overcome any limitations that you have, I think video is such a great opportunity to stretch that comfort zone without actually having to interact with people face to face. So you just hopping on camera and changing your routine in terms of how you look purely for video, and then maybe you go on a date night that night with your guy or whatever, like that's an opportunity to kind of stretch that comfort zone just a little bit. And then that day, like go see people and see, do they even comment? So I love that.
Totally. And I've done so many shoots with people on video and on camera, and just like lighting, your wardrobe, your set, like everything is so important to not be distracting from what you're trying to say. And so your makeup also comes into play with that. And that with what you did an example of last week, with where you did your no makeup to like your camera ready look. I mean, there's a significant difference. You look beautiful no matter what. But even just the way that you feel in front of the camera, knowing like, okay, I look good, I'm prepared, it really sets you up for a more successful like recording. And again, like being clear about what you're trying to say and without those little thoughts coming in the way to distract you.
It's so real. And we'll move on to the next question in a second here. But one other thing that I've thought about a lot is this concept that whenever someone gets famous, they might lose weight and suddenly they transform how they look on the outside. And everyone always discounts it like, oh, well, they have a personal trainer. They have the time to do that now, X, Y, and Z. And I think it's really interesting because like I always talk about video changes your life and how it's these little subtle changes. It's not these big giant leaps. And it's like, because you show up on video, you want to optimize the way that you look. And because you want to optimize the way that you look, you're going to make these massive changes in your life. Like maybe I do want to lose a couple pounds. Maybe I do want to like get my eyebrows done and like get them microbladed or something like that, or like learn how to do makeup. It's like these little subtle shifts and giving yourself permission to lean into that. So with that, I want to dive in. Let's say someone is incredibly intimidated. Okay, sure, Amanda and Meagan, you've convinced me. I don't need to keep beating myself up, but makeup is intimidating. Where do they even start? What would you recommend?
Starting from the beginning, as far as like knowing what you have and having the right products that work for you. So that's like the basics. If you don't have products that are easy to use or don't enhance your features or distract, like, everyone's seen someone where you see them in person and all you're thinking is like, whoa, their makeup is a lot. So I mean that comes
Caked
into play
on, right?
too.
That term caked on. Everyone refers to that, yes.
Yes, I try to not use that term because it drives me crazy, but everybody knows of that person that does like cake it on. And so I really think it comes down to like your basics. You have to have the right products. And then once you have the right products, you then have to understand how to actually apply them, but for your own features. So I think where everybody kind of goes wrong is everyone is just copying what they're seeing. So, you see something online, you're like, oh, I'm going to try that exactly the way they did it, but they have completely different features than you or myself have. So you have to understand how to like manipulate what you're seeing as an example and understand how to do that for yourself, but within your own features, your own coloring, all of those things that come into play. So if you don't know those things, that's why I think it's really hard for women to do their makeup, because they're just so confused on where to start and confused on what they should be doing for them versus what they see on someone else.
Yes. And I want to give a quick shameless plug too. Meagan has a quick start guide to hacking your makeup, and it is packed with really great step-by-step instructions for just getting up and running. Like, what products do you need? What brushes do you need? Like, oh, how do you even clean your brushes? To how do you look at different pictures and inspiration and be able to pick out what they even did in that photo to be able to recreate it and to find like what works for your specific features. So I will link to that in the description below for anyone that wants to check it out. And for those of you that are watching at the time of this video coming out, Meagan, tell us about this awesome masterclass that you have coming up that people should definitely check out, which I will link to in the description below.
Yes, I have my masterclass is coming on January 27th, 2022. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to be really just diving in on how to create your most enhanced look for 2022. So this just means like really understanding how, like what tools you need, how to use them, and maybe even just changing your perspective of, again, makeup doesn't have to be hard. It actually could be very simple. It's just, again, like having the right things and understanding how to use them that can then like click and make all the difference. So I really just want to empower women to start using it as a tool and just kind of help them get through any of those insecurities so they can go about their day and feel good.
Yes. And both the quick start guide and the training are free. And I really, really do recommend it, you guys. Like, I cannot express truly how life changing it is. It sounds like such a small thing, but just picture yourself being able to eliminate all of those moments throughout the day where you're cutting down your self confidence, your self esteem with these little comments. There can be another way. So, truly sign up for it. And at the end of the training, you're going to have an opportunity to take the same course that I personally took with Meagan, which is one of the reasons why we're here talking about it, because of how life-changing it was for me. And her course is called the Bold Beauty Method. And Meagan, can you give us a little bit of a lowdown on that as well?
I literally refer to the bold beauty method as like my life's work. It
It's so good.
is, I've been teaching women like in private lessons how to do their makeup, and I figured out along the way over the years that like meeting just one-on-one for like an hour or two just doesn't cut it. That just makes it more about memorizing exactly what I'm telling you, but you don't ever leave being like understanding why you're doing it. So I created this course because I really wanted women to have a better understanding of like the science behind what they're doing. Because if you really understand like the science part and applying it to yourself, which you know your face better than anyone else, then that's the type of information you don't forget. So this content, when you are actually learning it, it's something that lasts with you and you're able to understand how to make changes as you get older, as things change, which I think is one of the hardest parts for women because so many tell me they get stuck doing the same thing since they were like 15 years old or their mom never taught them how to do their makeup. So if you actually understand these like key concepts of what works for you, how to change these things based off of what is happening in your life, then you can be like your own beauty expert. And I think that that is so important. And I really believe every woman deserves to know that information. So I just want like everyone to understand makeup at a whole new level, but really specific for themselves.
Yeah, no, I was definitely reflecting on this morning as well, like going into this interview. You truly teach people how to fish. It's not just like, hey, buy this product and do it this way, which is what happens when you watch YouTube tutorials, different things like that. Or you go to the store and someone pitches you a product and you get home and you're like, ooh,
I have
like I
no
don't
idea what to do
really
with this.
understand. Yeah, exactly. And then you end up spending so much money on products that don't actually do anything for you. And they sit there
Exactly.
collecting, dust on the shelf. So, like, truly learning how to fish for yourself versus someone fishing for you is what the Bold Beauty Method does. And I also, once again, I want to like drive this point home of the value of investing in yourself and giving yourself permission. It can feel very like, once again, this like concept of egotistical or vain to like invest in learning to do your makeup, right? But we're changing the story of that. It's not learning to do your makeup, it's learning to truly enhance your natural features and fully embody this level of self-confidence that you can have when you do have that power of makeup behind you. So, yeah.
Yes. There's also, when I think about some of my students, my previous students, when I even just see the photos, so there's a whole lot to this course besides just watching the videos and practicing. But even in our Facebook group, like everyone is encouraging each other. And you can see literally not even just the makeup transformation from the beginning to the end of the course, but how comfortable someone feels in front of the camera. I have to be able to see what everyone's doing because I provide feedback for each person for everything that I see. And so part of it is learning how to take a selfie that I need in order to give you feedback. So that's one of the funnest things to look back on too, is not just that makeup transformation, but like the confidence transformation that comes from the beginning to the end.
Yes, so real. And once again, I know we're beating a dead horse here, so we'll move on. But I just cannot tell you the life transformation that has occurred for me, which is once again why we're here talking about this. So, full transparency, you guys. My goal is to empower 10 women. I'm looking for 10 women to join Meagan's program. I'm an affiliate for her this year. And I really want to empower you to feel amazing in your own skin. It doesn't matter, like Meagan always says, like, it doesn't matter if you have droopy eyes, how old you are, anything. Like, she's going to teach you how to transform that and fully embody yourself. Even if you're someone like me who didn't know anything about makeup and you're starting from scratch, like, you can do this. So go ahead, join the webinar. Join her quick start guide, whichever one is available to you guys right now. We will link to all these things in the description below. And if this video was helpful, please be sure to click like and drop your comments below as well. And Meagan, thank you so very much for coming on and sharing your wisdom with my audience.
Yes, thank you. That was fun.